Hello, welcome back to the YouTube channel of Bethel Evangelical Free Church Hanley. I'm Pastor Gervais Chalmers. This is another Shropshire church. This is the church of All Saints, Neen Sollars. It's unusual in being a cruciform building. People sometimes think that cruciform buildings, that's traditional, but no, actually it was posh because they're difficult to build. Even something like this, which is a relatively simple version because you've got a central tower with just these four structures radiating off it, you still got to have big holes, big arches in each face of the tower. And if you get that wrong, the tower falls down and your church has to be rebuilt and it won't be cruciform next time. But on this occasion they managed it. Now this has 12th century origins, although the building as we see it today is very largely 13th century, with obviously 14th century and later alterations, and of course has been extensively restored by the Victorians. So we'll have a look around and see what we can see. So of course, where do we start? We start at the West End because that's where you're supposed to start. Here we have the font, nice Norman tub. There's what a Norman tub. And here we have a memorial to that's called the dead man's penny, the First World War bronze memorial plaque to John Leonard Brown. And again, it's rather unfortunate they've taken all the wall plaster off because it doesn't improve the look of the building, and the pews are not the most interesting, but never mind. There's a nice pulpit here, and they have done put a lot of effort into what they've done in the chancel in terms of the work there. The organ, this is a Nicholson, I believe. Yes, it's a Nicholson. Nicholson, of course, Palace Yard, Worcester. So they are your local organ manufacturers. The pipes in the front are, of course, fake, but what's behind is the actual pipes. You can see them through there. That up there is the stairs into the tower access, which of course is not allowed unless you have, well, you've got to get permission to do it, and quite right to. This is the vestry. The south transept is still a transept. We'll go in there when we had a look at the chancel. This has been thoroughly done over in the best Victorian style, and you can see here that you've got stenciled decoration on the walls and stenciled decoration including gilded stars on the roof, and then you've got this great big reredos. It is a triptych, so that the two side wings do fold in, and traditionally they're folded in during Lent. Don't know if they do that here or not, but we've got the Nativity in the middle with the four evangelists, and then they've got the Annunciation and other scenes from the early-ish life of Christ. The early life of Christ there, up to Christ in the carpenter's shop at Nazareth. And there we have the east window. So it's all like part. This is, although it's a sort of Aubrey thing, it's in the proper place to be an Easter sepulchre. So depending on how high church they were, it may have served as such. You've then got there's a blocked priest door there. Side window, faith, hope and charity, with of course charity, caritas in the middle. And it tells us that the chancel was decorated in memory of Elizabethan Cook of Neen Sollars house, by whose benefaction the patent east window of this church was inserted, the reredos erected, an organ provided, and the chancel decorated. Also bequeathed £500 to this church and £200 to the poor of the parish. So that explains the decoration there, and also, yes, she paid for that nice Nicholson organ. It's a good thing, a Nicholson organ. And here we have the south transept. Now this is dominated, you can see, it's used for services where you would have people facing here and they just use a lectern. And this is dominated by the memorial to Humphrey Coningsby. And here he is. Humphrey Coningsby was late Lord of the Neen Sollars and patron of this church, and heir of the eldest line of family, the Coningsbys of Coningsby, Lincolnshire, of course. He was a perfect scholar by education and great traveller by his own affection. He began his first travel in April 1594, being 27 years of age, 2 months and for 4 years and upward remained in France, Germany, Italy, Sicily, then returned home for a little while and took his journey again into Bohemia, Polonia and Hungary, where for the defence of the Christian faith he put himself under the banner of Rudolf II, Emperor of the Romans, as a voluntary gentleman at the siege of Strigonium in Hungary against the Turks. After to satisfy his desire, which was to see the most eminent places and persons, he went into Turkey and to Anatolia, to Troy in Asia, Sestos and Abydos, through the Hellespont and into the isles of Zant, Chios, Rhodes, Candy, Cyprus, and other divers places in the archipelago. He also visited sundry ancient famous places of Greece, as Arcadia, Corinth, Thessalonica, Ephesus, and Athens, went over the plain of Thermopylae, by which Xerxes passed into Greece, and to the top of Mount Athos, the highest hill in Greece, and so arrived at Constantinople in the reign of Mohammed III, Emperor of the Turks, who, to do him honour, gave him a Turkish gown of cloth of gold, and his mother, the Sultana Ebrita, gave him another rich gown of cloth of silver, and 250 pieces of gold, and after 13 months abroad, then he returned to England, to the joy of his friends, where, staying a while, he went into Spain, and came back in safety, and again the 4th time he took his journey from London to Venice, the 10th day of October, 1610, and from that day he was never seen by any of his acquaintance on this side of the seas or beyond, nor any certainty known of his death, where, when, or how. From his first journey to his 4th and last was 16 years and 6 months. He lived a bachelor, leaving behind him one sister of the whole blood, named Catherine, the wife of Edward Freeman of Emlot in the county of Worcester, Esquire, and one other sister, by the mother's side, named Joyce Jeffreys, whom he made executrix of his last will and testament, appointing her thereby to erect him a tomb with an inscription of his condition, life, and death, which she hath here performed, though short of his perfections. Anno Domini 1624, tempora mutantur. So there he is, the traveller who went missing on his last great journey. Man, stay, read, muse, and muse more, and mind thy end. Flesh, pomp, times, thoughts, world, and wealth, as wind doth pass. Love, fear, hope, fast, pray, feed, give, amend. Man, beast, fish, fowl, and all flesh else is grass. See here thyself, a traveller as in a glass. No odds between us, but uncertain hours, which are prescribed by the heavenly powers for death, in fine, all flesh, all kind of flesh, devours. Farewell then, sister flesh, and think of me. What I am now, tomorrow, thou may be. So you have these arms here, because of course he fought. Interesting, he fought against the Turks and then visited Constantinople, because of course for him what was important was defending Christendom. And then we have the usual, wonderful Jacobean tomb, because he's in armour and he actually took up arms. And here Coningsby, in lively shape, thou liest, who sometime were the champion of Christ, didst travail Europe for his only sake, and found the foe, his quarrel undertake. What greater valour, piety could be, than bleed for him who shed his blood for thee? Alas, our life, although we stay at home, is but a toilsome pilgrimage on earth. But thou a double pilgrimage did roam, thou wast almost abroad even from thy birth. Thy journey's end was heaven, of homes the best, where till thou camest, thou never couldst take rest. And of course, no one knows where his body lies or where he died. You'll notice the crest, it's Coningsby. Now, of course, a coney is an old word for a rabbit, and so at the top we have a rabbit, a coney. So a bit of a pun there, and then back into the tower. So very, very interesting. You can see how they've used different coloured sandstone to give it a bit of a stripy variegated effect. And so back there in the nave, it's a bit gloomy because of course they took the wall plaster off, and another example of why you shouldn't do that unless it's the sort of stone where that works, and unless really it's the sort of stone where it doesn't just look really untidy. But there we go. So let's have a look on the outside now. And so here we are outside at Neen Sollars. You can see behind me the spire here rising from that central tower, that great mass of a building. It's a splendid building, splendid history. We're here right on the edge of Shropshire, not very far away. Behind the camera is the Team Valley and Worcestershire. So we'll have a look around the outside here and point out salient features to do with this historic church. So here we are looking at the outside here. You see here it's the simpler form of cruciform building where you have a central tower and they all just radiate off, but it's got a solid Norman central tower there and pyramidal cap with this spire really rising out of it. Porch on the south side at the west end, normal place for a porch basically. And what we'll do is we'll go round the north side first. You can see there's the south transept. No site ever had an east window in it. They don't always. And round the outside here, there we have the East End. This obviously has been restored by the Victorians. Probably the old East End was in a bad condition because often the chancel and the nave were cared for by different people. There we are, there's the north transept. You can see that does have an east window. Because the whole point would be that you would have side chapels in your transepts. There's it got its own door there, which is of course would be the door into the vestry, would have been the door into the vestry. And up and round we have the very simple north side of the church, just these 13th century windows, and those are bat boxes under the eaves. Bats like to nest in churches, bats make a mess, and so bat boxes mean that the bats hopefully prefer to be in the box and not in the church. Around the side here, around the back, the west end, you can see this rather soft sandstone eroding away a bit, and right back to the porch. And inside the porch, just a simple pointed doorway. So that is All Saints Neen Sollars. And so there we have it, All Saints Neen Sollars, a lovely building, I say just inside Shropshire, just on my way back at the moment from Worcestershire. And just had a few minutes, so I thought I'd pop in here and have a look. This is a gorgeous building, and the Coningsby tomb is particularly interesting and important. Well, thank you for watching, and may God bless you and keep you until next time.